Guan Yin. And Guan Yin has done this.
Okay, boys and girls, we are talking about a fun one today. We're talking Boss Level. This one directed by Joe Carnahan and is one part Groundhog Day, one part Free Guy, which is the new Ryan Reynolds movie, which I haven't actually even seen because it's not out yet, but it seems from what I can see in the trailers, it's a good comparison. Now, this one's got a pretty good cast. Actually, Frank Grillo is our main character, Roy, but you've got supporting roles from Naomi Watts, Ken Jeong, Mel Gibson, Michelle Yeoh, and it's essentially about this guy, Roy, who is in a time loop. And he's an ex-military guy stuck in this day where he's essentially attacked every day, straight away when he gets up, by a variety of assassins. He doesn't really know why, and he's obviously getting killed every time and having to restart the day. Now, there appears to be maybe some connection with his girlfriend, played by Naomi Watts, who is working for a corporation run by Mel Gibson. Now, I don't want to go too much into the plot here because obviously I don't want to go for spoilers, but let's just say there may be shenanigans going on like this. Now, the movie's set up like a video game-esque style movie, and that's just why I have that Free Guy type of comparison. Although it's not in a video game world, it certainly has a video game aesthetic. In fact, there's an extended sequence which actually takes place in a video game tournament area. And the opening credits are all pixelized and stuff like that. And it's somewhat of a hyper reality with cartoonish over the top sort of characters. Although, it's not trying to be really too hyper real, so to speak. So what do I think? What can I say about this movie? Okay, it's not the most original plot. We've seen, time loop movies aplenty at this point. But nonetheless, the concept is quite fun. And this one is the most action-packed I think you will ever see, certainly so far in a a time loop movie. And I've got to say, it is explosive fun. I mean, like I said, the characters are very much over the top. All of the assassins are larger than life, cartoonish creations, really not real people. But it does give it that fun, almost Scott Pilgrim-esque style aesthetic where we have big silly stunts, physics that don't quite work, things like that. So yeah, okay, it's not a realistic film by any sense of the imagination, but if you can get past that, it is really fast paced, and the action on screen here is more or less non-stop. I really like Frank Grillo. I think he is one of the best up and coming action stars of the new era. A lot of people say he'd make the perfect Punisher. I would agree. I hope he doesn't stray too much in the the typical straight to DVD stuff like some of these these action stars do. But he seems to be making some good choices so far. I don't know about the jiu-jitsu one, but there you go. But this is certainly a cut above that movie, let me tell you. I think Mel Gibson, he doesn't have a huge amount of screen time. Neither does Michelle Yeoh or Naomi Watts, to be fair. But Mel Gibson gets a reasonable amount as the bad guy, and it's chewing this scenery and has some quite lines, quite fun lines of dialogue here. In fact, this movie is really an action comedy, and there is even some comedy thrown at the expense of Mel Gibson, and it's the racist things that he's done in the past. But Mel Gibson is rolling with the punches on this one, and I've got to say, I quite enjoyed it. There's some fantastic martial arts sequences as well, and some really good use of the time loop. So for example, Frank Grillo learns how to master sword fighting by simply asking his teacher, so to speak, to up the level each time, although she doesn't know that. There's also some touching moments, and I really did enjoy the scenes with Frank Grillo's son. And You know, it does make some genuinely touching sort of moments in here. So anything negative? I think maybe, like I've said, it's not a particularly original movie by any stretch of the imagination. I think the hyper kind of like stylized format may put some people off and just kind of see it as a silly action kind of, you know, movie without any real gravitas to it. I wasn't so keen on the constant sort of narration and monologuing by Frank Grillo's character. I think it goes a little bit too much in that direction, and I wonder if that was put in after the fact because people maybe wouldn't follow it without it, potentially. But I think maybe it becomes a little irritating from time to time. Without kind of saying anything, the biggest critique for me, I think, and this was clearly a decision made by the filmmakers that I think falls short, and that is the ending of the movie. It's obviously a decision, I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, that was made by Joe Carnahan and the writers. But to me, I think people will find it unsatisfying. Let me just say that. I also think the climax involving Mel Gibson was a little underwhelming. Let me just put it like that. So, some minor... The only real thing I have is the only real absolute critique I have is the ending, I think, was a real misstep. And the rest of it's kind of relatively minor complaints, to be honest with you. It's certainly a certain type of movie. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and obviously with Mel Gibson with this and Fat Man, which is also pretty good, you know, he's having a pretty good 2020, I must say. Certainly not, you know, for those who enjoy maybe the Bourne movies and that kind of style action movie. This is certainly a silly one, but goddamn, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it, and you know, I just continue to enjoy Frank Grillo as a leading man. Mel Gibson is great. The supporting cast do a great job in their supporting roles, and there's some really fun assassins as well. And actually, Frank Grillo's brother actually plays one of the assassins, and there's a little bit of a joke about how similar they look and things like this. But yeah, loads of fun. I would recommend it. 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to see you next time. Bye for now.